Welcome back once more for our third game between Evil Geniuses Academy and Dignitas Academy, where Dignitas have once again chosen blue side. But Crumbs, it doesn't feel like it's the champ select that's really causing these issues. I mean, game one was just a super solid, clean game from EG. Game two very much was on the table for either team, and it seemed like Dignitas were in the driver's seat to close it out. And then Anders stole Baron with a Runic Echo's proc.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Dignitas recover in this series. This is one of the hardest comebacks I will ever see a team mount, because winning a best of 5 down 0-2 is hard enough, but the manner in which you lost your last game has to be taxing on you.
This is the kind of game where you wish you had the Men in Black thing to block out your memory and just be like, oh, I guess we're just starting 0-2. How did we get there? Like, you don't need to know. You don't need to know how you got there. So if the reset is to be made from Dignitas, it starts with a blank slate. No, they always, this happens every single time. Oh, we take it one game at a time. Well, that's what they have to think about. They have to string 3 wins back to back to back. So how do we start that win? I think that they had a good look with prioritizing Damonte in the mid lane. So maybe going with a stronger 2v2 than the Trundle Silas, or at least pressuring it more, could be something to give them some confidence, because I think they need to play early game and start getting some kills under their name to feel like, hey, we can actually take this game, versus let's just try to scale back and feel the same EG lineup, because they've been playing the same Ornn, Misfortune, Nautilus 2 games in a row, and it keeps hurting them late.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll attack that in draft. That's always an option you have. I am curious to see how EG look this game, because game one, they looked like, a super powered up team. Game two, I think a little bit more of what we'd expect. Still very good, but with some shakiness towards the late game and kind of coordinating out the closing of that game. I'm curious to see if they can, have a similarly close early game, but then close out the game differently if they're able to find an edge. Because I think what we do want to see from one of the better teams in Academy, and again, in my opinion, the second best team, aka the best team not named Cloud9 in the league, I think watching them have a more standard game where they're able to get a lead and then close it out without having to rely on massively snowballing the early game would be nice to see, because again, at the end of the day, you are trying to win. Dignitas is just another team in your path. You are going to have to play either a super duper powered up TSM or Cloud9, who are straight up the best team in the league. I want to see EG, be competitive in that spot, because no matter who they play, it's going to be tough, and it'd be good to see a team, if they are going to 3-0 here, have a very clean last game against Dignitas.
Absolutely. It would not speak well if they can close out a 3-0 and it's just as the second game was, where you're not really winning most of the game. If they are going to do that, though, they do have the option of going for at least parts of the same draft, as Misfortune's no longer allowed. So at least Dignitas is trying to see what Deathly's got, but he's got a lot of picks. He didn't just play Misfortune in the last quarterfinals. He had the Kaisa, the Callista as well, which can be pretty powerful, and you can just as easily lock in that Ornn AD and you've got yourself a very similar comp.
Yep, lots of bottom lane bans once again, but Set continuing to be the first pick here for Dig. That is their priority. Brandini, he might be personally getting a little tired of it, but I think no competitor is tired of winning, and Ornn certainly has been pretty instrumental in EG's success so far into a game, so they'll happily take it here again. As noted though, Crumbs by you, MF not available this time around, so gonna have to pick something different here in this second slot.
Curious what EG think about Trundle. Now, not so much for giving it to Anda, but as the way Grig played it, where the Trundle was used to make sure that Nautilus and Ornn could remain easy targets to pick on, and it gave Grig something to always do in the team fight. So that's a pick that I think Dignitas could go back to, as it went pretty well. It just doesn't feel like they're comboing it too well with what other drafts can go. Like, imagine if you took a Trundle here and you've got Trundle, Ezreal, and maybe even a Zoe. You have a pretty good poke comp, but the problem will be locked in a safe 2v2.
Yeah, I really like the Ezreal for Phoenix. I think it's champion heroes very well. It's really good for players that are very mechanically gifted, which Phoenix certainly is. So I think his individual skill translates nicely to this champion. It's also one of Deathly's favorite champions, so potentially banning that one out as well. Braum continuing to be picked here, again, I think makes sense with something like Ornn on the table. But it does seem like Gyu is going to get Zoe again. No, they're actually going to give almost definitely the prio, but it is Zoe instead of the Kai'Sa. So definitely going to eat some attention here, probably in phase number 2. But I think in this spot, you're kind of priced into picking Zoe. It's just such a good chance.
Yeah, it's very safe blind here, and I get a feeling that EG is once again just gonna pick on Grig here. So jungle bans start coming out. You know that Deathly is likely to take his bot laner in the first red side rotation because he already has his support, and you know who you're up against. So the jungle pool of Grig continues to be attacked, and if he doesn't find himself on a very good matchup, or if Anda can have a good counter, that could be the early game power that EG is looking for here.
And as a note, Yuumi and Callisto are also the other bans, so definitely won't have that champion available either.
Yeah.
But Gragas is going to be the other ban, so they will keep picking on Grig, and Kai'Sa will be banned by Dignitas. So we'll see what happens here for this last ban for Dig, but definitely certainly will be pushed down a few champions. We'll see what else he can pair with Matt's Nautilus.
Kai'Sa was the best one when it comes to diving somebody like an Ezreal. You have really a lot of tools to work with here. I think you can have a Varus as well if you'd really like, just having that extra crowd control and poke potential against the Ezreal, that you can do so much damage with somebody like a Zoe.
The other thing is that Syndra wasn't banned this game, which I was maybe expecting EG to throw in there to help lift Gyu's matchup up a little bit more. You could take Syndra here for bottom lane, but I don't think that's what Deathly wants to be doing. And it does seem like Anda is actually going to prioritize taking away a jungler here. He's just continuing to play more stylish champions. You know, started with J4, very solid, very consistent. Went to Nidalee, which was a real big one, and now Lee Sin, which is, you know, kind of in the middle, but certainly keeping on the aggressive side here. Anda clearly wanting the edge in his jungle match.
Very interesting. This tells me that EG felt like Grig would have taken and fallen back onto the Lee Sin if he had to. He instead goes for another early game jungler in the Pantheon that I think is much easier to execute, so I actually don't think he would have fallen back on Lee Sin. But curious, it makes me very curious to see what Deathly wants to play here, because you rarely see a last pick AD.
Yeah, I think this will be Syndra easily, though. It's pairs really well with the Pantheon. It's considered basically the best pick against Zoe. It's funny, in LCS, Syndra's win rate against Zoe is like 75% or something like that. And it's actually inverted in Academy. So Zoe is somehow, oh my god, they picked Vayne!
Okay.
Wow! Alright, that's a spicy one. I like it.
I mean,
double cleanse too.
Vayne can be good against Ezreal, right? I think that's the place
True.
where they're coming from. You can go into stealth and you can solo him out. Not such a powerful pick with his mobility, but you just have no wave clear, right? You're just so weak early, and they're running Cleanse Exhaust against TP heal, so probably a farm lane, bottom lane. Just a bonkers last pick when it comes to style here, right? You're just saying we don't actually care if you're going to focus this bottom lane, because we don't think you can actually win through this lane.
I mean, you said they were setting something up. This is the kind of pick you set up here, right? Something like a Vayne. Crumbs, I know you've been playing for a long time, so do you remember when Ezreal's W used to give attack speed?
Yes.
And it's just like the champion was just unbelievably powerful.
It used to heal at one point too.
Yeah, that was the truly silly version. But that Ezreal, one of the only picks I ever heard that was actually good against that iteration of Ezreal, which was just considered to be unbelievably strong, was Vayne, even in that build of Ezreal. So this is a counter pick that goes back quite a long way, but we'll see if it works out. Definitely with a very bold choice to potentially close out EG series. Once again, we are going to throw ourselves off to a commercial break to build up 5 minutes of delay in order to preserve competitive integrity due to the online nature of the broadcast. So if you want to see how this Vayne's going to work out in the 2v2, join us back in 5 minutes for what could be our final game of this match. Hello and welcome back to the Gymnasium of the Geniuses, Crumbs, the evil ones to be exact, because they are flexing all over Dignitas Academy as they look to close out the series 3-0. In the last game, it was Anders Nidalee that we thought, hey, this is a pretty confident pick, confident counter pick versus the Trundle. This time it is definitely of all players with the press the attack Vayne trying to show some stuff here in the 2v2 bot lane against the Ezreal and
from the Genius Academy itself, the Vayne straight coming at you as the counter to the Ezreal. So a big burden on him. We've all seen what can happen to an Ezreal that gets out of hand. He can take over a game and one-shot Vayne, regardless of how good she is as a counter. So the Phoenix versus Deathly War has been, I'd say, definitely favored for most of this series, but if there is a game for Phoenix to really step out of the Varus shadow that just puts him slow, unmoving, and easy to collapse on, the Ezreal should give him the agency to not get jumped on, to stay alive, and to have the agency to carry in the mid to late game once you hit that Trinity Mirror mana spike.
I was also personally hoping for Halo Blades Vayne, but I think in the 2v2, press the attack is just a bit better. Especially because you can have your teammate help you set up, whereas in a solo lane, you actually need the extra attack speed right now. But we have seen Halo Blades kind of make a lot of different ADs more viable, Kalista probably being the primary one that we've seen a lot more of in recent memory. So definitely not going that route, going for, I guess, the more standard press the attack. But regardless, should be a very fun matchup to watch versus the Conqueror Ezreal that is starting to become the standard in both bottom lane and mid lane, actually, kind of moving away from lethal tempo.
I still don't like it. I still think tempo is better. Maybe for mid.
I think better?
Conqueror is better in mid, and I think tempo is better in bot. The reason why I like tempo better is you actually can use a lot of it when it comes to laning and pushing. So a big weakness of Ezreal early is being able to push, and I think the lethal tempo, if you work around your passive, keeping those 5 stacks up, you can actually do a lot of damage and a lot of pushing that is often surprising to a lot of opponents in the early game.
Yeah. Also, we'll see Giyu and Damonte square up again here in mid lane. Giyu back on the Zoe. Damonte this time got access to the Syndra. And Giyu actually going for heal instead of cleanse. He did have cleanse at one point in Champ Select, but has decided against it. Is Ole getting harassed here by the Vayne and the Nautilus as both bot laners have hit level 2. Looks like Deathly and Matt already off to the races.
If the mid 2v2 of Dignitas was, I think, stronger in camping mid, I would want Giyu to take cleanse, but because they were not able to execute on the Yasuo Gragas, and then the Trundle Silas really didn't feel like it was a conscious effort of Grig and Damonte, I think Giyu is okay taking the heal, knowing that he's not gonna actually get ganked.
I don't know who the hook was intended for, but it nailed Phoenix there, and they have not seen Anders sneak into this bottom side of the map. I'm not sure he's going for anything other than the crab, as he does ping that right now. Oh, but another hook landing again. How is he getting this Ezreal so consistently as he finally shifts out of there? Definitely, they're going to follow up with autos. Does get the silver ball. Proc that Q. That would have been a kill onto Phoenix. So nice save there, but Anders still going. Going to get the slow down and force out the heal.
Oh, once again, the bottom lane of Dignitas is just camped, and their jungler's nowhere to help. Pantheon showed in the top side when you know that the Scuttle Crabs are being traded, and now the Vayne versus Ezreal is looking a lot better than we thought in the Champions. Like, stun's already out from Damonte, so he can't set him up for a Grig. He'd have to flash, and he just walks away. This is why he's not concerned about the cleanse. He can just play the lane well enough to not die.
Yeah, Grig actually got slightly unlucky there, I will say. He timed that gank, and Giyu picked an Ignite off out of a balloon, which actually gave him movement speed off Spell Thief to walk even faster out of it and force Damonte's cleanse because he thought he was getting all in. So that's a Zoe thing. Like, it's really hard to track, like, oh, do they have a bubble? What's she getting? Because you don't want to spend extra seconds figuring out what's going on. But that worked out really nicely for Giyu, and he also cheated to the right side of the lane. So I like it for both sides. I think Grig should have gone for it there, but Giyu had that under control.
Do you remember that was actually the same gank that Grig went for
as
Gragas that cost him his life? So he's doing kind of the same route 2 games in a row, and twice the gank just does not really pay off.
Yeah, looks like bottom lane is stabilized a little bit here as Phoenix actually burnt his TP to get control back in the lane. It's 2 Dorans now for the Ezreal, definitely still up in CS. He's actually up about a wave, and will likely collect more as he gets the wave that's crashing in towards the tower, but is certainly down as far as overall fighting power. He's going to lose that first minion actually to the tower.
There's a ward that was at the back of the brush that maybe Lorlo or Ornn could use to get into the bot lane TP and help the Vayne out even further. So they're really setting up definitely to succeed, which feels good for you to play Vayne and having your team believe in you and not throw you into the side and say, oh, you're just a Vayne picker.
Yep, so we are back, and we do have a pause. We'll let you know when we'll be back. Hopefully that will be resolved shortly. But it is an interesting point that you say in that EG often feel like they play around deftly, which is not something I really expected when I was looking at this team. Like, I think they are a good topside team. I think their mid jungle especially is very strong, but they move all of that lead into the bottom lane. Like, Brandini's been playing on, he's willing to TP. Giyu roams constantly, often towards the bottom half of the map. And for definitely, like I said, I think this is one of the best teams he could ask for, because not only does he have someone he likes playing with in Matt, who's also a veteran support across LCS and Academy, but his teammates are very willing to come bottom lane and make sure he gets ahead. And we've seen multiple games now that definitely is constantly the recipient of any of the positive things that EG are building.
I think it's because the veteran status of the team just falls into the bottom lane, like you were mentioning. Matt, great shot caller, and has been playing in Academy and teams for quite some time. Same thing with Deftly, whereas Giyu having less experience, same thing with Anda and even Brandini to an extent. So if your most vocal leader is in a certain lane, it usually happens that he's just calling for more help, and as a result, they look like they are synergizing around that lane. And so far, it's definitely paid off. It's definitely got a good champion pool. Same thing with Matt. So it's not like if they feel like they're in the back, but they always have tools to be able to find advantages against what their opponents are picking.
Yep, as an update, we do have about 2 minutes to wait, so we'll get back into the game as soon as we are ready. As a reminder, we do have to build up delays, so even if the game is unpaused, we have to make sure there is the full 5-minute delay built up in order to preserve competitive integrity. But I think one of the cool things about Evil Genius's Academy, Crumbs, is they've done this a couple of times now. Like, they understand the meta, they have all the set champions, but they're willing to show some flexibility. Like, I think specifically of Anders jungle Morgana in their final game of the regular season, which was just not something we really expected. But it's cool to see EG not only like be a solid team and be able to play the meta picks well, but also show like some individual stuff. Like, no team is really counterpicking Vayne, but EG have clearly practiced it enough. They're confident enough in Deftly in a playoff series to say, yeah, just take it. We think we can get through this game.
I think what stands out about that point specifically is that when you have teams that are known for experimentation, you usually see them 2 new picks, 3 new picks, a whole new draft. Just everything is different, and it usually falls apart because it's too much to handle and no one knows exactly how those pieces fit together. Here, we've seen 2 games where 2 unorthodox picks in Vayne and Nidalee come out, yet the rest of the draft remains very standard. You've got picks that make sense all across the board, and so just having one new addition, I think, is the degree of change that this team has felt comfortable with having. And it's pretty fun if you're on the receiving end of that experimentation, not so much if you're the guy playing Ornn 3 games in a row.
That's true. Brandini has to be recognized for his duty to the team in being able to play on all 3 games. It certainly has been helping EG as well. Again, we talk so much about their team play and their coordination and the pressure that their top laner and mid laner and jungler apply to other areas of the map, but particularly bottom lane. So EG clearly have, a script that they follow, but it's nice that they have deeper pockets than just the picks that everyone plays, right? Because I think especially if you're trying to make a deep playoff run, just being able to play what everyone else can play might be enough if you're a really talented team, but often isn't. And I think in a long series especially, being able to say like, hey, we can go deep in bottom lane and give Deftly counter pick, after he eats a bunch of bans and the bottom lane is picked in phase 1 for Dignitas, that doesn't feel bad as top lane Q going to land after the knockup from Brandini, and that's the follow-up. The Haymaker is good, but Lolo, can he stay alive? The flash in to secure it, and there's the first blood as the hammer comes down for Brandini.
Great gank there out of EG, and now they have the flash. The wave is back. Sure, they're going to lose that dragon, but Lee Sin off to an early start with a solid gank is exactly what you want. 600 gold on the board. Now he gets a counter gank as well. This is a really good start for EG.
Ooh, Grig getting low there, but he's going to finish off the Drake. Yep, it's all good as the Infernal goes off, but EG kind of knew what they were getting into. Phoenix's TP actually applying enough pressure here that they're able to make space around the Drake, and of course with Anda doing this in top lane, they kind of knew what they were
So
trading.
the cool thing about this play is that Anda actually W's first and then uses Q. So Lorlo thought that he was going to be able to flash and immediately avoid all that because Anda's W looked like a Q. It was in the same direction. Ornn was right on top of it, so he thought he was safe, but they played it really well and only committed one flash to it. So those Lee mechanics against champions like Zed are something that you actually have to practice. This is definitely not the first time he's ganked a set with a Lee.
Yeah, really smooth stuff there for Anda as Grig has found him out in the top side as Anda was stealing away the wolf camp after that gank. There's also a Scuttle Crab here that Brandini is going to try and protect, but not sure he can do the job himself.
Yeah, Lee's left, though.
He's going to be able to smite this
It's
down.
like, can I get a smite out of you? So that's the best he can get.
Yeah, it'd be funny if Brandini just like randomly ordered it and took the crap away.
It'd be really funny if he actually was able to steal it with maybe the last breath of W, just some random spell as similar to the Luden steal or Runic steal from Game 2 as possible.
And we see that Deathly has finally been able to go back, and things should feel a lot better now in the 2v2, excuse me, now that Bilgewater Cutlass has been finished. Blade of the Ruin King, again, has been popping up just about everywhere, but pretty sure Deathly would build this regardless of the status of the item, given that it's pretty essential to how Vayne wants to operate.
Yeah, the split push is a possibility, and he was kind of pushing on the side lanes quite a bit when he was playing Misfortune, being able to collect a lot of those plays, but that was on a game that was much more accelerated than this. The ganks into the bottom lane had gotten, I think, Misfortune at least 2,000, maybe even 3,000 gold up on their AD carry, so could go wherever and be much faster with the struck. That's the one thing that I think Misfortune has going on for her that's so difficult for other lanes.
Oh, that bubble was disgusting. Redemption's going to come down as well, but the squad is here. It's actually a 3v3 opening up in mid. Gee with the heal makes him space, and now here's Anda with the kick, but to potentially turn it back around. But everyone springs out. It's literally both junglers and supports in the mid lane, and everybody walks away.
The evolution of these roams mid, it first starts with somebody roams, the supports roam into the mid lane, and then Grig dies. The second game, EG Dig learns it, and then it is Anda that dies. Third game, they're trying to catch out Anda, but he's got flash and a ward hop. Has to burn that in case Grig were to have committed a flash for him as well.
Ooh, this could be a tricky. Brandini's got ulti. Here comes the ram. Good block from Ole. So Giyu continuing to pressure on the flank with the poke, but looks like just some cooldowns traded there, and everyone's going to walk away happily.
This leaves Vayne and Ezreal to 1v1 into the bottom lane, and it's turned into a deathly rotation mid, so EG might be further committed to a dive or something in these lanes. Look how Deathly's now taking over mid, and Giyu rotates to the Herald.
Yep, it is Herald here for EG. Wanting to make sure they don't fall too far behind on objectives. They have lost the last few early Drakes, as Dig got this first one, despite the flawless Drake record in their first game. But definitely here, just knowing that Phoenix's TP isn't back up, he has to walk there anyway if they want to overpower as far as numbers go. So definitely going to make the swap, and that early Rift Herald will go the way of Evil Genius's Academy.
Herald is not a big deal as long as you've got somebody hitting some plates, and Phoenix is one of the very best at doing that. The W is probably the greatest change that happened to Ezreal for that. And see, this is another reason why I actually think lethal tempo is even stronger. You can aim the ultimate down the lane in this position, hit the enemy, proc your lethal tempo, and then just obliterate turrets.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix got 2 plates. Maybe would have gotten a third.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely would have gotten a third with it.
Different rune. Instead, we'll keep applying pressure, but it's the same story on the top side for EG, and the Rift Herald's going to make the race not a race at all. EG will handily win this first turret trade. And that bonus gold's going to keep going over again, definitely continuing to put gold in his pockets.
This Herald will probably be positioned for a second charge, but EG wants to go for the Dragon. 20 seconds on it. They've given up blue side control, so they can have first dibs to it, and definitely wants to fight for it as well. So it looks like EG really is all about the Dragon bleed here and not letting Dignitas have that access like they did in the last game.
Yeah. They can see Lolo. They know he doesn't have TP if they're keeping track of that cooldown. And Blade of the Ruin King just got finished for Deathly, which should show you how beneficial getting an early plate gold has been. So EG are going to feel very confident walking into this Drake pit.
Orlo's walking too. He knows a fight has to break out. He's not using that TP as it is not up. And Phoenix is already here. Has Mirror Mana, no Sheens. Not a lot of damage on this Ezreal, and they're catching Pantheon.
Depth charge, good. Knock up though, but the Brandini ultimate's going to knock up 4, and that fight's over already. Olay asleep and likely going to fall. Matt forced to flash away. Damonte still here. Does get the Dark Sphere down to get the kill. So actually a 1-for-1 overall. Surprise Olay was allowed to live there, and EG actually going to have to recall.
Ooh.
So the Drake not giving up just yet, but the bubbles continuing to fly in. Stun gonna land. Really nice move there. Speedy space breaker there for Lolo, and it's Dignitas that are the first to find the second kill.
Really good look. It felt like EG was still lingering, not sure what they were gonna do from the aftermath of that team fight. They catch out the Zoe, and Dragon is still up. So the objective fight happened, but the objective has still not been taken. So we might be ready for a round 2 here. If Lolo can push up this wave really quickly and then TP down here, they could deny a lot, as Brandini is already making his way down.
Yeah, definitely actually went back down to the bottom lane. I have to watch the replay again to see what he was able to do. Oh, we're going to get a stun. No, wrong angle. Gets the flash at least. There's the TP out, but here's Ander again. Phoenix though chasing him. Ander is going to have to hop back over the wall. Grig is low, but the Drake will go over. Dignitas able to secure the objective, and EG have not found a trade, whether a kill or some more plates just yet.
You hate to see it. That would have at least gotten you a cleanse and a flash, but we're going to see that team fight again. So the ward gets cleared out, and this is not really the ideal target to go on. Pantheon has it aimed entirely at the enemy team, so it takes quite a while for him to go down, and it's the fact that Anda had used his Q earlier that it's not up in time to catch Olay before he can walk out. So that is why they're not able to get more than that. And then here Giyu just a little bit greedy, not recognizing there is a ward in the back of that ledge, and this stun too strong from Damonte.
Yep, now nowhere else to go. Insta flash from Lolo. Actually didn't. Oh yep, does need to get the follow-up CC, but has more than enough. And despite that amazing ultimate from Brandini, definitely only autoed Pantheon in that fight. He actually didn't auto a single time after they got that first kill. So not able to navigate the Vayne into the spot she needed to be in order to finish off that fight. So it is going to be a trade in favor of Dignitas. Still 2 Drakes up. Gold is even much more like the second game than it is the first. So Dignitas still holding on here in the series.
They're holding on, yet they're starting to realize that the Vayne's not going to be 1v1able. There is no one that's even close to be able to do that. Maybe the Syndra at some point if she can actually catch her, but Vayne can obviously outplay that with Cleanse and Flash. So I think that EG's game plan is going to continue to peak around Deathly. Everybody else is too far behind or doesn't offer the right tools. Between Braum and Pantheon, it's really tricky for Zoe to actually have the effect that she normally wants. And then targets like Ezreal make it even more frustrating that you can hit a sleepy trouble bubble and he can still just escape.
Yeah, it feels like fights are going to be very snowbally in either direction, because Vayne kind of like Jinx, needs the fights to keep rolling in one direction.
Wait, you could have killed him.
Great stun there for Damonte.
Could have just killed him right there.
Yeah, ulti I think might have been enough. There's the Pantheon ultimate also getting burnt. So Dig kind of misusing some of their cooldowns there. I think Damonte should have at least tried for the ulti to force Anda to maybe use an extra summoner or force something out. And definitely an early ult there for Grig, although the rest of Dig are here, so they're going to knock down this outer tower. So it will not be wasted. But here comes Brandini. They're going to, again, try and fight for this. Definitely has to be careful, but can he navigate properly? Another great ulti. Olay able to block it out. The 2-man knock, though, is nice, and definitely you just need to auto somebody here. Now onto Olay, as Giyu is also chasing down the hook from Matt. Is nice. That's going to be the first kill over. Goodbye, Olay, as he finally falls. And Matt with a great stopwatch there is going to prevent Damonte's ultimate from getting it done as Ander chases down Grig. There's the double kill now for Deathly.
What a great TP there from Brandini. He had the advantage against Lorlo, and Dignitas did not time it, or at least they didn't think there was a ward behind them. That caught them by surprise. It's a huge amount of gold going for EG. What should have been Dignitas just quietly crashing the wave and continuing to get a lead in the solo lanes. Turns out it's now a 2-0 Vayne. This is such a good ultimate there. And look at the splitness of it. You've got Pantheon and Braum having to look towards the Ornn, and then Syndra is immediately hit by Nautilus. So she can't even follow up if she had an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and again, Giyu roaming at just the right time here. Lolo way too far away. And the rest of the team really just giving Deathly these kills very nicely. 2 different skill shots landing from Matt and Ander respectively in order to give Deathly a couple there in that play. Crab though goes over to Ander, does not have to smite it. It's actually the Rift Herald fight that's beginning, so we're straight back into the action here, Crumbs.
Yeah, level 9 on Deathly, full blade but no active up, and it looks like Dignitas, they don't have all the ultimates they'd like for this fight like Pantheon, but they're in position. They're just about to chase. Oh, they're not going.
Yeah, Brandini doesn't have his either. In fact, most of the ultis being down means that there's not really a way to get in. EG are going to have to take the long way back around to mid, which may mean that Dignitas can at least get some damage done to the tower, if not outright take it, depending on how fast they can be. But EG know kind of what the play is here, so they are going to fend off Dig, and looks like Dig will just get a little bit of damage down, and do not want to stick around here, that's for sure, and they will back away from the mid tower.
They don't want to back away too far. 20 seconds on that Ocean Drake, and if EG can get the first look into that river corridor, we saw what that fight looked like when Brandini hit that 5-5-man Ornn ultimate. With the new Vayne items, I think definitely he's going to be able to do a lot more than just hit Grig.
Yeah, Brandini back at it, has the ultimate ready, is going to actually buy an item up as well. The Herald charged in mid as EG want to make sure they have full prio on mid, but Digga just trying to rush the Drake right now.
Ooh, they
are going to get it done. Yeah, no vision here for EG means they're a little slow for this take. So that will be the Drake over, but they're going to trade mid outer for it.
That's actually a pretty good idea out of Dignitas. So if I'm trying to understand why they made this move, they're feeling the pressure that EG is putting on them, and they know that a win condition for them will be the Ocean Soul. So trade everything you can to get as close to that and bank on that to be the strength that you need to be able to win these team fights. So now, hopefully the Ocean Soul is what they needed. It's definitely what they're counting on. They just need to make sure that that fight is what they want. Whereas EG, they're happy to continue to take the objective pressure and use that pressure to prevent Dignitas from setting up from that next dragon fight, which is exactly what they want. So you've got 2 plans all converging within the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, taking the gold pressure as well. They actually have that lead up by about 3,000 almost. So Evil Genius is trying to leverage what they've been getting, which is a lot more gold over, particularly to their carry. Definitely is almost done with his Kitsu's Rage Blade, but he's not there just yet. That will be the big point we'll look at here for this Vayne coming up. But Dig is still staying proactive, you know, looking for picks, roaming around with the Pantheon ultimate. They've got plenty of ways to set up between the Braum and the Pantheon, and Damonte is not letting go of this pressure topside. Definitely is alone for now. It's going to be a 4v3 in this top half of the map. Definitely going to have to trade carefully here. Does have his cleanse up, but doesn't want to face check the Syndra too silly.
They don't have a tier 1, so EG could actually run them down if Dig stays here. Notice that Brandini rotated up to mid. He doesn't have TP, but he wants to be ready for a fight. They're slowing Damonte.
Definitely's in. Yeah, going to be a bait here, though. Definitely getting low, and that's a shutdown. The ultimate from Syndra, more than enough, as Grig also leaps in a battle. And now going to have to get out of there, but he's got nowhere to go. Another good follow-up stun for Damonte, excuse me, as he takes down Ander. What a bait there from Damonte.
Okay, you want to lock down Syndra before you do that, right? So things like the exhaust, the Nautilus ultimate, you don't want the Vayne to start that fight like that, so he pays the iron price. I think it was actually just QR that killed him. I think there definitely was a Q in there. I can't imagine it was only an ultimate.
Yeah, I don't think at this point. I think there was at least one extra sphere tossed in, but yeah, definitely a little overreaching.
Insta-buy them,
we'll say. He's like, oh, whoops, guess I'll buy this non-magic mantle. I mean, he's delaying his Ginsu, so kind of a rough life out there, but does have to pay respects to the Syndra, who already has the Ludens and double spell pen items done. Definitely, though, is in the side lane, so kind of picking up the waves as we expected here. Great hook there on the Phoenix, but he does buffer the Arcane Shift out. 2 minutes also till that Drake is up, so EG gonna have to contest for every single Drake now.
Yeah, they have to contest, but they're also having the split push online. Vayne is in the top lane, ready to go, avoiding Syndra at all costs. Good idea, considering how it went last time, and she can hammer away at this tier 2, and it puts EG in another tough position to make decisions, and it is, would you trade the soul for the Baron? Now, almost always you go for the soul. It's obviously very early and you don't want to deal with such a late objective, but with a Vayne, if you lose the ability to even access the pit, you can always fall back on that, and there's a good chance that Dignitas just does not even feel comfortable making that kind of trade or look, and they give you both.
Yeah, it does seem like EG is setting up to contest, though. I think definitely is trying to farm for this Rage Blade, but he's running out of time to actually complete this recall. Good bubble there from Giyu. I think extending it through the turret rubble there, but definitely is not going back at this point. He would have to go back basically now if he wanted to fall back. But I think EG are determined to stay out on the map and just rush down this Ocean Drake with the priority they've got.
They don't have the Ornn upgrades just yet, so they're not as strong as they'd like to be. We saw in that last game they actually could wait it out. Here the pressure a little bit too high. It's only the Ezreal that is basing now, has the TP up, and it looks like they're TPing him in. And why is Braum moving towards the Baron side?
I think they're a little worried, so we're going to get some vision down, but mid-priority got retaken by Dignitas. EG think gonna have to find a pick here because Brandini's all the way in top lane, and again, definitely has not based. So EG made this decision to kind of find a timing, and I think they might have mistimed when the dragon was coming up because there was space to take a recall and they didn't get it. Now they're forced to face check through Fog of War. They do have a ward in the back of the Drake pit at least, but a fight's gonna break out here before the objective is relevant, I feel like. Hook from Matt, finds Olay, but just poking in.
Ooh, they're gonna rush.
This could be risky for Dig. We'll see if EG can line up this fight though. Speedtrain's gonna go over. Still onto the Drake though, both teams. A smite hit for Zoe actually means EG can try and steal this now.
Oh, a double smite steal, that would be the play too.
I think they're going to have to go for that. It feels like they're just contesting here. No, there's the hook. They're going to go for the fight. Brandini trying to wait out the Unbreakable. He did use it. There's the Ram coming in. Only gets a knock up onto 3. It's pretty nice. Is Giyu able to take down Olay? Demonte, they're very powerful. Giyu leaping in. There's Lolo into the backline, though, but they peel off. They make sure everyone stays alive. Definitely needs to live. Gets the next kill. Now on to the next. Is Demonte low? Is going to fall? No, not yet. It's Grig also low, and it's just an absolute mess here in the backside, but Phoenix falls to Giyu. Somehow EG have everyone alive, and they will get the kills and the Drake.
What a patient play out of EG. I mean, these are the ideal HPs that you want to see. Everybody's low, but everybody lives. Pantheon's trying for a steal.
Grig. Oh, gets Drowsy, takes down Matt, and that's not worth it at all.
Wow. Just superior team fighting. You saw how patient they were, just letting Giyu do a little bit of poke, keep having Matt looking for those hooks. He doesn't have the stone plate yet, but when you have so many threats and this shrine to help you get in the mix, it really gets easy. Look how deftly positions himself. So he ults here, hasn't tumbled yet, still not stealth, and now appears on the top side of the map. You're like, whoa, what's happening here? They're still going, try to re-engage. And then it's Lorlo that goes in, but then the carries aren't even there. So there's not a lot of follow-up on the set ultimate. So the disjointed engages out of Dignitas, where it looks like one member going in at a time, where there was Lorlo there or Phoenix before, and even here at the end with Grig is what kept everybody on EG so healthy. Need a little bit more coordination and target focus out of Dignitas.
Yeah, nicely navigated there for EG. He's definitely finally finished that Rage Blade and has his Blade of the Ruin King upgraded by Ornn as well. Brandini actually did burn his TP to, I think, maybe consider rushing Baron after that play, or at least just get control of the area, but he did use it before that replay started, so won't have it for a little bit. It's actually the only TP EG have. So we'll see if they regret that decision or not in the next few minutes, but for now, they're in control here. Still have the mid lane outer up. They're making pressure around the Baron, and definitely is feeling it. He's got the Negatron Cloak done. He's got 2 key items here on the Vayne. Any targets in his sights should be knocked down pretty quickly at this rate.
Here comes the two-man Baron. Let's see if Dignitas sniffs it out. They only have Ezreal.
Oh, and good ultimate as well, but he actually used it to try and assassinate the Lee Sin, which I think was the right call, but they're not going to check as a result. Giyu has to keep them interested, though. Phoenix getting slapped down means that DIGA, I think, now know what's up here. There's the ram out as well for Brandini. Oh, he missed it. Now it's going to be a 50-50. They're going to try and kill the jungler. The depth charge happens. They're going to CC him up, and it's low. Who's going to get it? Oh my god, it's Greg! He's able to steal it, finally getting revenge for game number 2. Definitely's going to die to Damonte's ultimate. And that went so pear-shaped for Evil Geniuses. Dignitas going to get a big win there.
What are these Barons? What a call. What? So, if I'm not mistaken, Greg stole it with a Q? And that also killed Anda? Because both junglers
we'll have to see.
They might have both have had charges up. They both have it here. Let's see, so this is really cool. Anda is going to end up kicking out Grig as he flashes in. And then Q from Pantheon does what?
I think he got back in here. No, he didn't. He just stole
with
it.
With a Q.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where Anda was, but he had Smite. I think it might have been at range. It was 522 HP.
He got ulted by Set.
Interesting.
Grig's revenge. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, Dignitas now in firm control of this game off the back of a clutch Baron steal there by Grig. I can't believe that Q did that much, if that's all it was. But regardless, a nice play for Dig, reacting well to the two-man Baron. They figured it out. EG went for a risky play. It did not pay off, and now they're behind, not by much gold, but again, the soul point's going to be threatened. They have a constant siege pressure to worry about, and for how much we've been talking up Deathly's Vein, for how good it has looked, for how much gold it's collected. Phoenix's Ezreal has been stunning the times we've seen it, and he's also not far behind at all. He's actually pretty firmly ahead in the CS department, and item-wise, he's about equal, so you can see now playing aggressive, going to force Giyu to use that heal. And I don't know if Evil Geniuses can stop the soul from being taken this time.
Yeah, this feels tough now that you have the dragon that's going to come up with Baron, and the Baron leads you to push both tier 2, so the way into the dragon is going to be so much deeper for EG. They have the damage, and that last play, I really felt like it was, again, them looking for too many plays that were not necessary. When you're going for the sneak, there was no need for Anda to be giving away his position or doing anything. You should just count on Brandini and Deathly to get it down. At least the carries of Giyu and Deathly will have flash for this next fight, despite the Monte and Phoenix having theirs up. That could be what they needed, because they team fought so well that last time.
Staggered recalls here for Dig, but it looks like they will make it out in time to contest for the Drake, just not to keep their vision up. EG now going to move in. They've realized that Dignitas has gone back here. And what's going to be the play? Not to rush for the Drake. They're going to look for a fight instead. Poke here lands from Giyu, hits onto Phoenix, but too far away to connect on that particular paddle star.
It's going to be important for EG's front line to not take any damage and just let Lorlo get into the back line. The Vayne will dispatch of any tanky members down there, so it's not needed for EG to overcommit. They will always have damage.
Again, both teams trying to get into the area. Giyu firing away on the Zoe. Does have the blue buff. Gonna get the bubble down, but it does just go through the goalposts. Dignitas are playing aggressive here. Grig gets smacked by a paddle star, though. This is a very tense Drake fight, and EG know they cannot give this up.
This is good for Deathly because Ginsu is already stacking onto the Vayne, so EG having a good idea of how they want to play this out, and the fight's beginning.
Yeah, there we go. Set into the backline, but Lolo is going to die to Deathly. Oh, the Drake goes over. That's the soul, though, for Dignitas. Giyu now has to win the fight with the rest of EG, but the front line is starting to melt. Damonte with a big scat of the week out as Matt is trapped in the back of the pit. He will fall, and Giyu just can't do anything with the Braum Unbreakable up. So Dignitas, they just brute force their way to the Drake and they grab the soul.
Really good look, and then Lorlo going straight into the back lane. Even though he died right away, you saw the threat he was posing with such a well-placed ultimate. It was going to hit 4 people, multiple members were going to get hit by the face breaker, so a nice look out of him that secures the dragon for Grig, getting those 2 out of 2 smites or Qs if you'd like it. Just securing the objective. Doesn't matter how you get it, as we have learned from this series, as long as you get it.
Yep, Giyu also getting stunned in mid lane. The Syndra is starting to get very out of hand. 4-0-4 for Damonte. Another great game for him. after being fairly quiet in the first one. Does have the death cap now finished alongside the Ludens. And Amarillo's coming up pretty quickly. So surely Dignitas won't lose another game with Dragon Soul Crumbs.
Surely not, but
surely not.
But I've come to believe many things that seem quite unlikely, and teams losing with Dragon Soul is one of them. So I think that EG still have ornaments. You still have a very powerful late game, lots of crowd control. But they don't have that Ocean Soul, and I wonder just how valuable that is with only one healing reduction item.
Guess we'll see. Looks like some recalls being taken now as Baron is going to be back up in 45 seconds. Elder Dragon also to concern ourselves with in a number of minutes. But Dignitas in control once again. Zonya's now finished for Demonte. Not even going for Morello's, just sticking with the orb alongside the Sork Shoes. 3.5 items now for Phoenix. Has the QSS for even more safety. It's going to be really tough for EG to lock down this Ezreal.
It really is. And just definitely has to stay alive, and the EG tanks need to really play far back. Matt now has the stone plate, so he's going to be a little bit harder to take down, but he's still no match for how powerful Dig's carries are. Even Brandini can really be burst, but it takes a Syndra ultimate, which might actually be the cue for a fight out of EG now that Syndra can't one-shot someone.
It's a pretty big cooldown to get, actually. Brandini kind of shrugging that off. Unbreakable not used here for Ole. Giyu gonna get in with the paddle style, but doesn't connect quite onto Lolo. Again, the cue is to watch. Oh, Giyu doing so well to thread these paddle styles around. The ultimate activated for Deathly. They've got the hook on the Lolo. The Haymaker's big, but Deathly's gonna take him down. EG with a big pick there to start it off.
That's exactly it. They can kill anybody. They have so much damage with the Bane, and the hook hits Ezreal.
Another hook. You got to be careful with the depth charges out. Definitely hitting frontline right now as Ole with the Unbreakable up is fairly tanky, but Phoenix got to be careful. And looking for the kick. He gets a kick on the Phoenix, but he doesn't quite find the play. And now the stuns land from the Syndra. That's going to be Ander going down as Matt forced to flash out as well. And EG, now that they can't protect this Vayne, I don't think definitely can win the back end of the fight. Going to be really tough here, but DIGA just chasing down the rest of EG. Definitely goes back in, but it's just so dangerous. He has to dodge everything. Shooting out, he can't get through the Brom. Demonte's there as well. Gonna get the stun down, but there's the Zonyas, and definitely to his death will flash into Dignitas. And that's gonna be a full-on ace for Dig as they'll charge down mid lane.
That fight started with EG getting a great pick, and now it might actually be the last fight of the game. Dignitas is gonna try to end it here.
Yep, they're going to go for it here. Nothing really else to play for. The Baron is not needed to try and end this game as Dignitas finally going to get themselves on the scoreboard here in the series. It's just Matt and Ander right now to try and defend. It's 20 seconds left on everybody else, and Matt's already dead to Demonte. So a 1v5 now for Ander, which I don't believe he can make. So Dignitas will finally get some consistency. They win with the soul. They'll stun down Ander. They'll get their revenge, and they'll make it a series, Crumbs. 1-2 now, 2-1 in favor of Evil Genius.
And the context with which they bounce back makes this third game win so impressive. From the tilting game 2 loss, from the limp game 1 to this, I think we might have just seen the bottom of Dignitas' just mental fuel come out here, because no way that you get a Echo steal on a Baron and you're still level-headed enough to come back into the game without just using all of your reserves for staying not tilted.
Yep, really solid victory there, as we are going to be stepping away. But on the other side, we've got Game 4 of our series. Evil Genius Academy versus Dignitas Academy continues.